There are 6 key components to aligning what you're up to in the world, what you do for a living, with who you really are. So follow along with my diagram that I created about how to develop more personal alignment. You are the star of your life, okay? And the first part of knowing yourself and developing yourself is your identity. Your identity is who you are right here, right now, in this present moment. And our identity is made up of a whole bunch of stuff, including some of the most important things are: what do you love? What moves you? What excites you? What are you excellent at? What are you great at? One of the best things you can do to really understand your identity and who you are is to allow others, both instruments and people, to help you with this process. The second layer and component of this identity, of your personal internal alignment, is: why are you here? What is your purpose? What's your higher reason for being on this planet? I call it your North Star. And your North Star is the contribution or the legacy that you're here to leave, to leave behind. The big discovery that I made is that if you don't know what it is, that's okay. Just go ahead and choose one for now. And you can always evolve, adjust, change, let it reveal itself to you, but start with whatever it is right here, right now. Because a lot of times you'll hear like mothers say, well, my purpose is to be a great mother for my kids. Okay, great. And what is it beyond that? And what is it specifically that you are going to embody and be so that they can watch you and experiencing you being it, and they can learn from how you're being in the world and how you're showing up with a higher purpose. The third component is, I consider it, if you think of it like the star, right? There's the inner piece, then there's the higher piece, and then I think of these 2 legs, which are the grounding pieces. So over here, the first leg is the values, and the values are what root you, what principles are rooted in your life. What are you honoring through your life? Now, your values can be, like, for example, you might have a value of environmental sustainability, in which case, you probably recycle and do everything you can do to minimize your footprint on this planet. Or you might have a value of fun and play, and so everything that you do, from your business to your family to your work, is infused with play. Where people get into trouble with this piece is when they have a core value that they're not honoring in the way that they're living their life. And so I invite you and encourage you to consider, what are your values and are you truly aligning to those values? The other leg is also a grounding process or energy, and that is your life force. Your life force is what grounds you in your body. It's your physiology, your well-being. How are you feeling mentally, emotionally, physically, right? Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating good foods? Are you fueling your body so that this vessel can do the maximum amount that it can do in the world? So those are the 2 grounding forces. Now think of the arms of the star, right? So in the past is the stories that we create about life, our belief system, what we believe to be possible, what we believe to be true. The beliefs are determining a lot of times what we believe is possible for the future, which is the other arm, which is moving into the future, into the possibility of what's next. So we've got this piece pulling us out this way in the past, and a lot of times what it takes is letting go of grievances and forgiving and reframing old stories so that we can move forward into the future in a whole new way. So these 6 elements, when they're all firing and when they're all operating optimally, they're sending out a signal into the world. And that's, when you focus on these 6 pieces, that's how you develop yourself, and specifically develop yourself into a leader, someone who is shining brightly. Because when we see someone who's firing on all these cylinders and who's really fully expressed in all these different ways, right, then we get inspired. So if we're being that person, we're inspiring other people. The point of developing ourselves is that we're developing ourselves in service of humanity so that we can make a bigger impact on others, so that we can uplift and inspire, so that other people can go out and uplift and inspire. And imagine if every single person did that, the kind of world that we'd live in. I often like to share the distinction between living from vision versus living from past and circumstance. So when we talk about vision, I love to share the story of Rick Allen because he's the quintessential example of someone who lives and lived from a place of vision rather than from a place of past beliefs and circumstances. And in fact, he had to let go, most likely, of a lot of past beliefs and circumstances in order to truly step into his most great self. So Rick Allen, if you recall, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know, is the drummer from Def Leppard. And he was an incredible drummer. Already when he had 2 arms, and he was known as one of the best drummers in the world. And then he was in an accident and he lost his arm. You can't be a drummer with 1 arm. And that would be something that most people would say, oh yeah, that's true. That's a belief, right? You need to have 2 arms to be a great drummer, certainly to be the best drummer in the world, right? Or one of. But Rick Allen refused to live from circumstance, refused to live from the past and what the past beliefs were about what was possible. He instead chose to live from vision. And he said, well, with 1 arm, aka 3 limbs, I'm going to become a 3-limbed drummer. And what he did was he recreated his entire drum set in order to operate with just 3 limbs instead of with 2 arms. And he continued to be an amazing drummer and continues to be an amazing drummer because he chose to live from vision rather than from circumstance. And by so doing, also inspired a whole bunch of people to shift their perception and belief about what is possible. If you like what I'm talking about, if you're curious about how to incorporate some of these ideas and strategies into your business, then go ahead and download my Monetize Your Magic playbook. You can get it by clicking on the link below. And of course, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will get notifications when I release videos.